Louis Wood Radio. Yeah. Multimedia.com. MyCityMyMusic. The movement will be televised.
Louis Wood. These niggas think they Hollywood. Louis Wood. These niggas on Somali. Louis Wood. Yeah. These bitches think they Hollywood. Louis Wood. Bitch, get the fuck on. Louis Wood. Can't fuck with me, I'm up next. Louis Wood. Gotta work that out like Bo. Louis Wood. These niggas on Somali. Louis Wood. Bitch, get the fuck around me.
Yeah. You are not tuned in to the voice in the heart of the movement. We are Louis Wood Radio at MyCityMyMusic.com. We bring you the best and we don't give you nothing less. I am Tweezy the Don.
It's the one and only Rena Phoenix.
And shout out to TT, the Don daughter. She was not in today. She was a little, a little tired.
Yeah, she working. She, had to go and get us some rest. You know how it goes.
Yeah, but we gonna hold it down for Miss TT. And I hope for you, your 2020 vision is now in effect. Here, if you haven't got at us for promotion here on the hottest underground indie internet station 24/7, you losing. So go ahead, man, and cash app Louis Wood Radio and get in on our Louis Wood Radio 24/7 hot list. Get a place to send your fans to hear your music. We also got affordable promotion packages to put in on our Saturday show. Many right now. So let's get it. Stay tuned. We got our guest who's supposed to be calling in, Cuban Pete. Hey, if you hear us, if you see us, call in, man. It's that time. Yeah. But we also got the homie Chuck Pfoutz in the house, man. Say what's up to Louis Wood Radio fans out there, man.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Yeah. So we also got that Rena Rant coming up, this or that, and Petty Zone coming up also. So hit that line at 515-599-1687, and we're about to bring you that Flexing by Rena Phoenix.
Flexing. Yeah.
in my city, and these bitches looking mad, cause my doobie treat them shitty. I'm flexing on these bitches that be looking at me stinky,
Holy shit.
You want to showcase your bars? You think you belong up there with the stars? We welcome you to the Cypherville Challenge. Powered by Soldier Black Blood Television and MyCityMyMusic. Your host, the Bar Baby King himself, 5'9" King. And the Queen of Soldier Black Blood, Rena Phoenix, will be on deck. And our Cypherville snipers will be displaying their skills on Fruity Loop Mafia exclusive beats. And after the Cypher, it's a good old battle. Who wants some Cypherville Challenge? Coming soon.
Holy shit.
Yeah, what's good, world? It's your boy Strings with this.
Holy shit.
You want to showcase your
Killing it.
This is Louis Wood Radio.
We call this here a little twin.
Twin. Give me my goddamn money. Yeah. What's up, y'all? We are back on Louis Wood Radio at MyCityMyMusic.com. And that was Flexing by yours truly. And I want you to catch that and more on all digital platforms under Rena Phoenix, Rise and Win, The Redemption. I want you to go get that. Rise and Win, baby.
Rise and win.
Yeah. So, we got Mr. Chuck Pfoutz here with us today.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm glad that you're here. So
Me
what
too.
you got going on?
Oh gosh, I got a lot going on. I got 2 fashion shows coming this year. We just finished 3 last year, and then we actually just got the film from our Chicago show this morning.
Okay.
And I watched it. And, whenever I watch my shows, the more and more I watch them, the more and more I have love for them. Because, I'm behind the scenes. I have to take all the frustration. I have to put it all together. And it's a lot of work. I never really get to see what it's like until I watch it.
Yeah.
So I finally get to see it, and I'm like, wow. It's almost like there's a path ahead of us. Like this path was laid out before us. Because it just so happened to have it work out the way that it did. And then we went and did an event. It was called Style Rivals. And it was for this production company called Slayfest. And we went and did that, and basically what they did, they actually attended our show, and within 24 hours they booked us to be on their platform. And then we went and they emailed us, and they were doing movie themes for Halloween, horror movie themes. So they sent us a list of what they had, and we decided to just, because everything, there was so many horror movies that came out this year, everybody was going to be taking all the other ones, and I wanted to do something completely different, and that's the way that I've always been. Just kind of taking things in a different direction. So we chose Fright Night.
Oh, dang.
Have you seen those movies?
Yeah.
Fright Night?
Yeah.
The second one? Did you see the second one?
I did not.
See, that's the thing. Okay, and this is a really well done, well written film, and I'm telling you, the way that the story and the way that it was directed and everything about it was just a completely incredible film that gives off the whole cult classic vibe. And it's still not, I don't think, relatively a cult classic in the sense that where it needs to be, because it needs to be successful.
Right.
And whenever they released the movie, it was released in 1988. Of course, that's the year that I was born. And so whenever I watched it, I saw how brilliantly it was in continuation of the first one. It was definitely more realistic. It was more dealing with a traumatic situation, and there was a psychiatrist trying to convince this Charlie Brewster into thinking that vampires weren't real. And 3 years of therapy, traumatic therapy. This is more of a realistic script to me. This whole 80s high school thing that was in the first film, now they're in college now. He's in college now. He's probably in his sophomore year or junior year or something like that, getting ready to go out there and live a normal life independently. And just when he got to the point when the psychiatrist had convinced him that vampires weren't real, he throws out all of his protection from the forces of darkness, and then all of a sudden the next vampire comes in to try to
come get him.
avenge the death of her brother, which was in the first film. The brother was in the first film, and she was this whole seductive vampire, really a dominant type of female character in this film. And how basically the vampires in that film, the way that they were dressed, was totally 80s. Totally 80s. But it was so brilliantly done, and it was not successful at all. And it was just because there was so much competition out that year. I think Indiana Jones had just came out. I mean, it just completely got overshadowed, and that's what happens with a lot of these films. And a lot of times when they say bombed at the box office, people think that it's not good.
Right.
And that's why
know about it.
And that's what I tell people. I was like, my dad is like the ultimate movie critic. He's probably seen nearly every movie that's ever made. And he's like, oh, I heard it bombed at the box office. I was like, well, that doesn't mean it isn't a bad film. I was like, you need to watch it. And then, because we have the power of word of mouth to make it successful.
Yeah.
Like, look at Underworld. I don't think Underworld was that successful until it actually got out there and people started talking about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And there you have it. So,
Cuban Pete, you on the line?
Yeah, Peace from the UK.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And how you doing today? Glad that you can be with us. Give us a little bit of what you got going on.
Well, I've just dropped a 5-track EP called 5 Points after the now demolished graffiti mecca that was in New York. Did that with Falling Down, who's a producer who's done things with Blue affiliates and D-Block members and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just promoting that at the moment. I run a music imprint called C75 Live.
Okay.
And I've got a few people down with me, including B Divine, who's just dropped a single with him featuring Eric Sermon, a guy called D Rage who is mentoring, and myself on my first proper hook, which first proper hook I've done myself for somebody else anyway. So that's cool.
Okay, that's good to hear. So we got some hooks coming up, and we heard a good rundown on, what is it, Fright Night 2?
Well, hold on, I wasn't finished with the story. So we actually did extensive research and recreated all the costumes and all the looks, and like we did extensive research on the makeup and the whole vampire looks, and then we went up there and of course did the show, and then we shot it, turned it into a commercial, and then we aired it as our kind of like our Halloween commercial. And then that's kind of how far we go when it comes to our shows, and just the path that we went down from the Chicago show to that show and how connected it is together, and then what we're about to get into next.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome and real intricate, and I definitely have to see it. I mean, I like your head too. Your head is actually telling the story.
I use my show as an opportunity to do extensive research into whatever subject it is, and kind of let the story be the star instead of letting everybody else involved in the show be the star, because we're all great at what we do. We have some big names in our show, some people who are really well known in the fashion industry and definitely in the entertainment industry. So in this specific show, the story is the star. Okay. You know, and everybody else is kind of like executive producer, photographer, movie. You know how a movie is.
A lot of credits.
Yeah.
So what's the name of it again? That everybody
the Maximum Exposure Fashion Series, and then each show has a different theme.
Okay, yeah. So we gonna definitely check that out. We gonna find out a little bit more about it in just a moment. But
sure.
Yeah, right now, y'all already know. Here on Louis Radio.
Yeah, what's good, world? It's your boy Strings with the Z, EMB, and you are now listening to Rena's Rant on Louis Wood Radio. Yeah.
Okay, so here on Louis Wood Radio, I'd go on a little rant around.
Just a little rant.
Just a little bit. And I want my guests, Chuck and Mr. Cuban, I want y'all to participate in it with me too. So what I'm getting ready to rant about today is jealousy. Okay? Now, different kinds of jealousy, but this type is, it's like if you love someone, if someone you love is alright, is it alright for them to be jealous of whatever, you know? Is it alright for somebody that you love to be jealous of?
Jealous of what?
What you got going on?
We'll go.
No, I mean, they shouldn't be jealous. They should want the best for you.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to surround yourself with people who actually support you, and not people who are actually jealous of you, because at some point,
Well, wait a minute. Not jealous of you, but like different people around you.
jealous of different people around you. Okay, that takes it in a totally different direction. You want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
It really, you supposed to.
Well,
it's just. I mean, I don't know. It just depends on the person. I'm one of those people. I'm kind of devoted to the person that I'm with. So, and just because I don't like the idea of somebody I'm with out there with other people, so I don't feel like there's any reason for them to be jealous of me. I shouldn't give off that reason at all. There should be, if there's not trust in the relationship, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
True that.
Yeah.
True that.
I kind of think that to a certain extent, it's all right, but as long as it's not overboard, as long as it's not making you,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, as long as it's not to where you can't get things accomplished and get things done, but that's all right to be. I mean, because you're gonna feel some type of something about your other, no matter what's going on.
I was gonna say it's.
Yeah. So yeah,
I was gonna say it's natural to feel something.
Go ahead, elaborate on that a little bit, Cuban Pete.
It's natural to feel something like because for example, when my wife's out with her friends or something, I'm not jealous as such, but I'd rather I was with her than whoever else she's talking to. You know what I mean? It's
right.
If I'm busy working or doing whatever, I value the time we got together. So I'm jealous in that sense. But at the end of the day, I trust her to be cool and not do anything wrong as such.
All day.
Okay, so what you think?
Well, I'm gonna be totally honest. I feel like if you don't have no type of feeling like that, and I'm not talking about like if we talking about relationships, I'll just give you an example. Like today, if I'm in here and somebody come talk to my girl, I want to know what they saying to you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can call it jealousy or what, but I feel like you should be able. I mean, if you love somebody and you see 20 dudes around your girl or around your partner, I'm finna come over there and grab her and be like, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
You gotta have some. If I'm not jealous at all, I don't think.
Then you truly, it shows that you really don't give a shit. Either.
Right.
But but there is. It depends. Doing it without humiliating yourself and humiliating your partner. Because I feel like communication goes right up there with trust.
Yes.
And you guys should be able to communicate about these things
all day. I don't think it's nothing wrong with confronting if you feel that way. I don't think you should just be like, oh well, I'm insecure. No, you talk to your partner and you say what you say, and if they be like, oh well, they just said this and that, then it's over. It ain't nothing wrong with asking a question.
Right.
Well, this is how you know when, especially when you're devoted to one another, this is how you know when your partner is, when something's changed in your relationship, is when the behavioral pattern changes. Mm-hmm. Those are the signs. If you really truly know your partner,
Yeah, all day, for sure.
Yeah, I trust my partner. It's the other people that I don't trust.
Right, exactly.
I know what men are like.
You other brothers.
Right.
Know about y'all.
All day.
Okay. So yeah, we got down to the nitty gritty. It's okay to have a little bit of jealousy going on, a little bit of tingle sensation when you think something going on or not, or you just want to know. However it goes, it's all right. But just like
just
Chuck
show that
said,
you care. Show that you care.
Yes.
Yeah, just show that you care. But just like Chuck said, without humiliating yourself or your partner.
Yes.
Yeah, because it can be a test too.
Yeah.
If you don't get upset, then your you don't care.
Yeah.
You don't give it. You don't care about me at all. These people could have taken advantage of me. It could be a test too.
Yeah.
But don't test me like that. That's kind of. I don't like that.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Don't do that. Don't trap me. That's against the law. But no, anyway. But yes, that's enough for my rant. No, I just wanted to just put that out there a little bit, see what y'all thought about it. And I also want you to check us out on Facebook for Louis Wood Radio. So it's on Facebook, it's our Louis Wood Radio, and then get details about our winnings, upcoming events, interviews, and look out for new clips of Cypherville Challenge.
And like us. Hit that like button.
Yeah, definitely hit that like button. You know, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend, and everybody hit like. So, Cuban Pete, we got that Future. Is it Futura?
Futura.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, Futura, yeah.
Futura, okay. Yeah, introduce that for us, please.
Yeah, Futura is off the 5 Points EP. It's, I mean, all the tracks are named after people involved in the graffiti scene, not necessarily from 5 Points, but I mean, there's Henry Chalfont, who did spray can art and Subway art, the books. He documented the scene. I've got Dondi, and Insa is a UK guy, I think, but he's great with the marketing side. But yeah, Futura is a cool track. It's trying to think. It's, I mean, I've tried to base the tracks around the sort of artist's work and what they mean to me. So that's the direction I try to go with it.
All right. So we about to go to that Futura by Cuban Pete, and you heard it on Louis Wood Radio at MyCityMyMusic.com.
This is hip hop. Born for the streets. Catch me mixing paintbrush with the pixels. Couldn't make my talents match with the fiscals. Visited the Bristols, but trapped in a small town. One life to live, they don't give a go round. Me and the day job in showdown. Guns drawn, never ending battle. From dusk till dawn. I got the skills, but they're not paying bills. They're mounting up cause my marketing sucks. Makes a lack of business sense and some marketing books. Watching whack rappers make it cause of marketing. What? I got stuck, comfortable with not much. I need to turn it around. You turn full clutch. Music is art, that's right. But hip-hop's from the street. Fuck your gallery price. You know the ones who drop an album a week. Google image artwork with fashion names barely dropping on beat. This is hip-hop. Born from the streets, not the bourgeoisie or the stuck-up elites. Mainstream wants to claim it. Some things remain sacred. They either try and gentrify or pour scorn, or turn the art form of love into poor porn. For middle-class amusement, who wouldn't know the true shit if they tripped over it, cause they've never lived through it. Nowadays empathy is lost quick. People taking others down with them like a drop kick. You see them pop shit on the net every day. Dissing pioneers for likes is clickbait. Just ignore them, they might go away, cause this type of shit happens every which way. And loose, cheap promo, sidestepping suits cause they lie about cash. Sidestepping truth, they took money out the booth, transferred it to merch and shows. Not many artists are businessmen, bro, so the balance was restored back to the higher ups. Masters pulling strings, taking everybody's cut. What fuck? This is hip hop. Born for the streets. Not the bourgeoisie or the stuck-up elites. Mainstream wants to claim it. Some things remain sacred. This is hip hop. Born for the streets, not the bourgeoisie or the stuck-up elites. Mainstream wants to claim it. Some things remain sacred. This is hip hop.
Killing it. This is Louis Wood Radio.
You gonna learn today? Alright.
Yeah. Woo! yeah, and that was for sure by Cuban Pete. And Cuban Pete, let us know where are you from?
Where you from, Cuban Pete?
I'm from the UK, West Midlands originally, but living in the northeast right now.
Okay. I'm loving your music and your accent, so I just had to ask because Yeah, I like it.
I do too.
I like it a lot. So, yeah, if you got a shout out, I want y'all to hit us up on our line at 515-599-1687 or comment on our Louis Wood Radio Facebook Live. You know, we keep it litty. I want y'all to go and like us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's time for
This or that. This or that. Say what? This or that. This or that.
This or that by TT the Dandada.
Shout out to TT the Dandada.
Yes, shout out TT.
But we finna do the this or that.
Yes,
you
want to
wanna
hear with us today again? But yeah,
you wanna start off?
Yeah. So I want to ask y'all people out there, what is your preference? Do you drink, or do you do other things to get your vice?
No, that we got to make that a little more clear.
Okay, alcohol or weed?
Yeah, alcohol or weed.
Alcohol or weed?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you clarified that. Jeez.
What you say?
So what about you?
Alcohol for me.
Alcohol? Okay.
Yeah. I used to smoke, but not so much anymore.
Oh, you cut it out.
So that's one for alcohol for Cuban Pete. Chuck.
Alcohol.
I'm alcohol.
I'm gonna say both. No, I'm just playing.
You ain't no alcohol.
Not at all.
She partakes in the 420.
Sometimes, man.
Sometimes. All right. What I got? What we gonna say? All right. This or that. I'm gonna say that chicken or fish.
Oh, chicken every time.
Chuck.
Chicken.
Rena.
Fish.
Yeah, I gotta go with chicken.
Fish. I like salmon and I like cod. I like tuna.
I love salmon.
Yeah, I love salmon.
But if it,
I like all of that.
my favorite food is chicken.
Yeah.
So we got chicken, fish.
Chicken, fish.
You got one more for him?
PJs or no PJs?
PJs or
You sleep
no
with pajamas or you don't?
Oh, hell no. I can say that. No PJs for me. Cuban Pete.
Yeah, no PJs for me either.
Chuck.
Absolutely not. I'm warm-blooded.
Okay, so everybody around these parts don't want nothing when they sleep.
Nope.
I do. I burn up really bad. I think that's the reason why I'm so skinny. They
I
say you
sweat
burn
it all
more.
out.
Yeah, they say you burn a lot of calories when you sleep. I get really burnt. Like I wake up sweating. It's crazy.
Oh man, yeah, sometimes I do too.
Yeah.
But that's a different story. But okay.
Right.
all right.
You should talk about it. You should talk about it. Be honest about it.
Yeah, I just said. But all right, we moving on. But that was this or that by TT. We miss you.
We
girl.
love you, TT.
Yeah. So we got Reminisce by LaShawn coming up.
Yeah. And you heard it on Louis Wood Radio at MyCityMyMusic.com.
Yeah.
She feels so right, it felt so right. Got me thinking about her when I dim my lights. Think about me sometimes, think about her at night. I be running these streets sometimes, I ain't really tryna thug at night no more. Remember what we did on a late night, yeah, I remember what it tastes like. Do you got what it takes? Can you go no breaks like me for the starlight? Put your body on me one time. I just wanna feel your touch again. I just wanna feel your touch again. Wrap me in your love again. They talk when I listen. I'm feeling you, baby. I got what you missing. I tend to you, baby. What's poppin'? Let's get it. Can't read her mind, but I probably get it. Niggas tryna holler, you be easing them off. You all in my head, she a tease and she walk through. Good with her lips and she easy to talk to. Like what you bought me, love what I bought you. Giving my all to you, baby. Switching positions like crazy. She ride it, I'm all in her navel. I kill it, she pushing up daisies. I'm a slave to the thought of us, match made in heaven. I wonder who thought it up. I know you've been thinking of me. If you haven't, it's cool, baby. Sorry I brought it up. She feels so right. It felt so right. Got me thinking about her when I dim my lights. Think about me sometimes. Think about her at night. I be running these streets sometimes. I ain't really tryna thug at night no more. Remember what we did on a late night? Yeah, I remember what it tastes like. Do you got what it takes? Can you go no breaks like me for the starlight? Put your body on me one time. I just wanna feel your touch again. I just wanna feel your touch again. Wrap me in your love again. Wrap me again in your love, I be needing that feeling, baby, you different. Need mental and sexual healing, pay me a visit. I'm real, I can't switch it. She down, I'm a witness. They all in our business, we work it out like fitness. I'm glad that we met, I spent some nights with her, we never slept. She never asking me what's the next step. She only asked me to fill up her dress. She know I smack it and rub it and lick it before I start beating it down. She know that when I get done that her legs will be lazy, so ain't no more leaving the house. She feels so right, it felt so right. Got me thinking about her when I dim my lights. Think about me sometimes, think about her at night. I be running these streets sometimes. I ain't really tryna thug at night no more. Remember what we did on a late night? Yeah, I remember what it tastes like. Do you got what it takes? Can you go no breaks like me for the starlight? Put your body on me one time. I just wanna feel your touch again. I just wanna feel your touch again. Wrap me in your love again. Remember what we did on a late night? Yeah, I remember what it tastes like. Do you got what it takes? Can you go no breaks like me for the starlight? Put your body on me one time. I just wanna feel your touch again. I just wanna feel your touch again. Wrap me in your love again.
Killing it.
This is Louis One Radio.
We call this here
A little 2020. Yeah, that was Reminisce by LaShawn. So if you want to be featured as the Artist of the Month, DM Louis Wood Radio for details. With that, you're going to get 2 songs played on the show every Saturday. You will get to perform at an event thrown by SoldierByBlood.com, the Playground TV, and MyCityMyMusic.com. An exclusive interview catered to what you want. So come get what you need over here. We winning over here, man. And again, tune in to Louis Wood Radio on MyCityMyMusic.com every Saturday at 6 p.m. And check us out on Facebook. So now, let's get to the...
You are now entering the Petty Zone.
All right. So, on the Petty Zone, I got 2 things we gonna talk about today. The first one is an individual sexuality anyone's business? And when is it right for anybody that's not black to use the word nigga with the soft A? Not nigger, we know that ain't, you know, we don't fuck with that. But with the soft A, because, and we'll start with the first one. We'll start with the second one, because I like to set the tone. So it's a battle rap scene out where a white guy he actually said, you know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, he said in the whole rap, like, the people was telling him not to use the word, but he said, fuck it, I'm going to use it. And he said, my nigga. And the dude he was battling stole on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker. So, I don't know if I would have stole on him. I don't know. I can't say. I can't say if I was going to steal on him or not. I don't know about that. This is my thing. And this just me. And this just me, period. And I'm going to put it, I'll be straight honest with you. I can't be around a person who's not and who's white and they say nigga. I can't take it. I can't, that's not how I get down. I can't, that's not me. But I've been around people who be around white people who say it. No, I done seen it. And they say it on a regular, and they say it to each other too. So it's like this with me. If you around people that accept that, then that's them. But you have to be careful because everybody don't accept it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. I feel like if you in your circle and you're a white person or you somebody that's not black that says nigga, like, and I understand this nigger and like a motherfucker call you nigger, that's a difference. If you saying nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? Cause we say it, and that's one thing I do get. Like if I have a white friend and I call him, hey, you my nigga, that's kind of a pass.
So he can say it back.
That's kind of a pass. I wouldn't do that though.
When he said he is nigga, so
Yeah, but
he is.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a slippery slope when it comes to that. But me personally, me being in the military and being around people that is open to them type of jokes and that type of thing, I just stay away from that. You know what I'm saying? So I try my best, you know what I'm saying, to stay away from even saying that type of shit around people that I don't want to say the same thing to me. And that's how I feel about that situation. What you think, Cuban Pete?
Well, I'm a white guy. I mean, you know, I'm whiter than Snow White's pure driven snow on her front garden in the winter. But I would never say it myself. I mean, I've been called it in a good way, a bad way, and just as a general term, like I would say friend or whatever.
Right.
But I would never say it back to someone, unless I knew them really, really well and I'd been raised around that shit. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Not something I feel comfortable saying after a few exchanges on Messenger or something. You know what I mean? It's
right.
But having said that, with the battle rap thing, I mean, isn't the whole point to be as disrespectful as possible? I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only example I would ever think someone would use it and be allowed to use it. Because, I mean, you can say you're going to piss on somebody's dead grandmother's face or something, and that's okay.
Yeah, hey.
When she died like 2 days ago, but saying a word that, you know, is obviously, well, I mean, to be fair, the guy who said it is a bit of a dick, you know. I mean,
right.
I've read about him, and he's an idiot, full stop. So, you know, that might have come into play as well with this guy. He was just waiting for him to say it, basically. But if I was a regular battle rapper and I wasn't known for that shit, then I'd say, yeah, okay, you get a pass for, you know, scoring points battle rap wise, but that would be about the only time, really.
For sure. What you got to say about that, Chuck?
Me? Well, you're in the military. You've been exposed to all different types of cultures all over the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, every culture is different.
Yeah.
And it needs to be respected.
Yes.
And this is something that is coming out of your culture. And
Yeah.
only your culture. Nobody else should have the right to say that type of stuff. And I consider, when I see somebody else outside of your race say stuff like that, I consider it unacceptable, and I don't have people like that in my life.
All day.
Okay? And I've had situations happen to me. I'm Jewish. And I had a friend of mine. I was friends with him for like 15, 16 years. I'd known him since I was a child. He made a Jewish joke to me one time, some sort of nasty ashtray joke to me. And I swear I never spoke to him again after that.
Okay.
Ever. And I've known this person since I was a child.
Yeah.
That's how serious. I do not have people like that in my life. And regardless of whatever excuse comes out of your mouth as to why you said it, it is unacceptable and disrespectful. And it's just how I was raised. I'm the son of a person who was in the military. My dad was in the military for 23 years. And, I mean, him and my mom had a huge discussion on how I was going to be raised. I was his first and only. So they had a lot of discussions about how they wanted me to be raised, and they wanted me to be raised to respect all cultures equally. And that comes from two very well-educated people.
Oh, dang. For
and
sure.
who had great exposure to the world. You know, so, and that's the thing, that's the problem with the culture that we live in today, is everybody, we're all kind of boxed in, especially with social media, we're even more boxed in. So we don't have the ability to go out there and get to know different cultures. And that's why I really like my work, is because I really get to collaborate with different cultures and really get to know, especially now with times are changing, things change all the time, and you have to maintain some sort of consistency, especially if you want to be big, because you cannot sit there and just appeal to just one type of audience. You have to be universal. You have to be able to collaborate with everybody, and that's why my show is so special, and that's why people love it. So it's because it's universal. Thank you.
That's a good thing. That's how I feel. Exactly. Rena Phoenix.
I mean, I don't like it if it's derogatory. I look at it as if you got somebody that's in the culture, like really in the culture, like this is what they do day in and day out. I don't really look at it as a derogatory thing towards, say, me per se, because when you talking to each other and use certain language within yourself, within your culture, within your group, then it's not really like a pass, but I know people have their thoughts and whatever, but it's not the word that everybody was thinking about. I don't understand why it's such a big problem, but I do, but then again I don't, because when we was little over my grandmother's house, she didn't let us watch TV, and then we had to read her dictionary sometimes if we got in trouble. And I looked up the word nigger, and it said,
well, we're not talking about nigger.
I know that, but I'm getting to why I'm saying what I'm saying. And it said an ignorant person, somebody who lacks education. And so I was like, well, that ain't me. So it started, the sting when you would hear somebody say that word, or people it's not a sting to me because it don't represent me. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I mean, yeah, it was a slang, but it was the word, it was a derogatory word that was just aimed towards the black people. But when I read it and seen the true definition, I'm like, well,
that's not me.
That ain't me. So I don't feel a sting when I hear the word. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it could be anybody, and I don't have to look like me.
Well, when people say it, they don't know the meaning behind the word, so that's the sign of ignorance right there.
But
just look at the root.
When you sitting up, but what I'm saying is, because I don't want you to get away from what my answer is. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, when you have somebody that's sitting there, and if they sit there and they ride or die with you, they sleeping in the same house.
Well, that ain't got nothing to. That's usually
who say it. That's usually who do it.
I'm gonna have to interject on that, because you talking about somebody saying it to a friend. I'm talking about somebody saying it to somebody that you don't know. That's what happened in that battle rap. He didn't know that dude. He didn't eat and sleep.
His content, listen to what he said though. He was like, Dave said, I won't say it. It was like it was taunting the way he did it.
It's just like it's just like comedy. When they go out there on stage and they sit there and say anything that comes out of their mouth that can offend somebody. I think Joan Rivers made fun of somebody who was blind and deaf. It was a Helen Keller joke. And of course, that's offensive to some people, and it's comedy. And a lot of times, back in those days, they didn't talk about it as much as they talk about it now. These days, it would probably be considered very controversial. But I mean, that stuff like that is controversial. And a lot of times, people say those things to be controversial.
Right.
And it's a controversial word.
I think that's what he used it for.
So is you saying it's all right for him to say it? Yes or no?
No, the way no, because he used it. The context he used it in was taunting. It was doing exactly what he just Chuck just stated. So.
So what are you?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not a concrete yes, I'm mad about it, or no, I'm not. It all depends.
I just said, is it all right?
I think if
it ain't got to be mad. I wasn't mad when I heard him say it.
I think if it's said, and if it's like the way that regardless, there should be an apology following. Because regardless whether it was a mistake or not, take ownership of that mistake, learn from it, and move on, And and you have to be able to say I'm sorry, and the other person has to be able to forgive. And that's how we move on from situations. Situations cannot be corrected unless communicated.
True.
A lot of times we don't communicate. We don't like to communicate. We like to just get offended. We like to go online, and we like to just write our feelings out there and put that person on the spot in front of thousands of people. That's not how you solve a situation professionally. But that type of stuff, it's unacceptable regardless of the circumstances, because it's a cultural thing and not a universal thing.
Right.
So it's not acceptable anywhere but in that culture.
I'm with you on that.
But in the culture don't have a color. You know what I'm saying?
It does have a color, just like a coat. To me, if you don't think that, you don't know your history.
The reason I say that is because, if it's
I know
that
why
bad
you
of
said
a
it.
word, then why would we, or if anybody say it to each other? You know what I'm saying? If it's that bad, if it's something that you don't want nobody to say because you feel disrespected, why say it to each other?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
You're exactly right. You're exactly
That
right.
is,
how is it invented, and how can it be killed?
Yeah, but this what I say about that, because it's easy for somebody to say that. It's very easy, and I heard that before, and I used to be on that side. It's like this. If you know the history, we turned it into our word. That's what we did. We turned it to a positive. It's not nigger. That's why I keep saying you brought the nigger to justify what you saying, and that's what everybody do. We ain't saying nigger. We saying nigga. It's a difference. Regardless of people say, even that tone of it is a difference. So us saying it is us saying it, and that's the culture part of it. It is a color. If you don't want to say it's a color, you're wrong. It's history.
And try to look at it from our standpoint. We work in media. He's in the military. I'm from a family who was in the military. Just look at it from kind of a universal standpoint. Yeah, it is something that is isolated and should not be interpreted by somebody else outside of that isolation.
That culture. But
that's my feelings on it.
It's everybody do have a different feeling on it, but I won't feel comfortable with somebody white or outside the race coming up, hey, what's up, my nigga? No, man, call me my name. That's all I'm saying.
We've got all these labels. Whatever happened to our names?
Right, just call me my name.
God, it's a name.
I'm gonna go even for them, because I don't want my sons. I don't want them, like I tell them, don't call yourself niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if it's such a disrespectful word, don't refer to yourself as that. Don't refer to nobody as that.
And you're doing a good job at stopping it at the source.
Yeah.
That's stopping it right there. Good for you.
I feel like if it's gonna be a cultural thing, it's gonna be that, and that's what it is. But like I said, it started from me from when I was little, and that's where the word stemmed from. And from when I was little, it wasn't no color thing, because that's what I looked in the dictionary.
Yeah, it wasn't a color thing to you. You're one person.
Right.
We're talking about a whole generation of
I can only
people.
get my own feelings about it.
Right. So I get it. Because I used to be the same way until I stopped thinking just about me. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
I ain't just thinking about me. I'm thinking about everybody.
I'm not gonna argue. That's not my point. So we finna move on to the next one, because we'll be talking about this all day.
Let me just say a sec.
So let's get to, is an individual sexuality anyone's business? So we'll start with you, Chuck. What you think about that?
No, it's nobody's business but my own. That's the way I feel about it. I feel like everybody has a right to do whatever they want to do with another consenting adult and should not be questioned about it. Especially in this day and age. God, we're 20 years into a new century.
Lord, man, you definitely right about that, because it's a lot of, I don't see why, and it's on both sides too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you straight or if you homosexual, why does it matter? Why do it matter?
It don't. like you said,
I gotta be honest with you, it's never affected me in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter, and I don't make it out like it does matter. It shouldn't matter.
Right.
And I think that's the way it should be, though. It should not be made out to be where it is unacceptable. It should be made out to be where it's acceptable. I mean, it's never stood in my way. It never stopped me from having my career. Everywhere, I've never, I swear, ever in the last, I can't remember the last time I was ever discriminated against because of my sexuality. That I'm just one person, though. I know there's an entire world out there filled with people, but me, as far as all the areas that I've been into when it comes to my career, never once has it ever been used against me, and I'm very blessed to be in the generation that I am, at the age that I am, to actually be able to say that proudly.
Right.
That's how far we've come. That's why I'm trying to say is we're 20 years into a new decade. I'm seeing all these things, all this anger out there. I mean, God.
Right.
And the bad part about it is a bunch of anger about something that ain't got nothing to do with a lot of people. Like, you mad about something that don't even have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Right. Why you mad? You want some?
You mad about something else. Like, what is the problem?
You mad because you can't get it? Come on. Yeah.
I don't think it matters to nobody but whoever you doing. Whatever you doing. It could be you and your TV. It don't matter.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it is. I mean, because at the
it could be you and your TV, you and your whatever the case may be.
Because your friend, it don't matter. Just on y'all.
What you think, Cuban Pete?
No, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, and people say it like it's an insult still. And I know we used to when we were in the schoolyard or whatever, but, you grow up, you meet people. I mean, how can you be 20-odd calling people gay as if it's an insult? It's just crazy, man. And it doesn't make any difference to anything.
Yeah, in no type of way, man, especially in the business that we in. And it don't even, not even the business that we in, because in military it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I learned a lot by being in the military. Like, some people think that the military is this hardcore and blah blah blah. It's hardcore to an extent, but at the same time they teach you to respect everything. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that type of thing, I got to think about my children. Am I not gonna love my kids because they either homosexual? No, I'ma still love my kids. Just talk to me about the shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what
parents are upset about that more than anything. Telling everybody and not telling your parents.
Yeah.
That's what I see a lot of that more than anything. Why am I the last to know?
Right. Right. So. That was, we call it Petty Zone, but it's not petty. You know what I'm saying? It's just what we do all day. So, Cuban Pete, I got this song on her. It don't have a title, but it's featuring Cornish Cashman and Be Divine. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on this song, fam?
Yeah. It's called Scene, after the Godfather of Graffiti. And it's just it was just the three of us on a posse cup, just laying it down really, and just your usual braggadocious type shit.
All right, what's the name of it again? Scene. All right.
Yeah, S-E-double.
Oh, it's all right. I see it. I'm tripping. All right, I got it. All right, we about to go to that Scene by Cuban Pete featuring Cornish Cashman and Be Divine, and you heard it on Louis Wood Radio, baby.
Yo! Shasta Carnage, Be Divine, C75 Live. I've seen dark nights drawing, sun barely rising, and props pouring in, get my head the next size up, so the cap fits, reach my peak like a summit, third base gas face, the top I'm far from it, Wallace and Gromit, forget the crackers, I do this for the real motherfuckers, not the actors, real recognizes, disguises I'm bound, no I don't like surprises, surmising your sound as whack as that, scrap with legends in my habitat, stay in your mentions in the back like boom pack a Mac, hit the light alarm with tighter rhyme, rhymes at the right time. Derek Acora, searching ghosts, but I write mine. Mind your business. Don't play with my dream. Miss CDs, but I stream like a piss test. Invest in the one. Neo, up and coming. No wannabes allowed to stay 100 miles and running.
I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics, the gimmicks. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics.
Fucking rap pricks, putting up bricks, calling them plastic. Them cut and paste celebrity feats was never valid. About as real as a Clinton face 20, you funny. Posting Photoshop, photo ops, the shit is disgusting. Live like lusting, thirsting for cosigns. You ready to do anything to come off that sideline. Got champagne talk, Kool-Aid will. Outside of the clown circuit, you a one-shot kill. Never hone no skills, your craft is grafted off the next man. So why your deals come with a shelf plan. Wannabes claiming they fam, never been stamped. The real recognized infiltrators get jammed. Don't be the latest exam chump, I mean champ. Get slumped with your camp in the back of a park van. Break fake, the thug fakes fucking with Jake's 5 points. Make a fist, make me knot up your face, nigga.
The gimmicks, the whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, whack lyrics.
I seen MCs come up, seen others downfall. I seen MCs fumble and others pick up the ball. I've seen MCs give up, not even giving their all. I've seen MCs keep pushing even if they had to crawl. I've been seen handling my biz, taking care of fam. I do what I want, so I'm seen as a man. Move for the bigger picture, I've seen the whole plan. Did a lot of touring, so I've seen a lot of land. Seen a lot of faces, seen a lot of haters. I stay on my grind, so I've seen a lot of paper. Seen a lot of blessings that I had to savor. Seen things unfold that weren't in my favor. Seen MCs destroy potential, turn into fiends. Seen MCs hit stages, rock the crowd mean. Seen MCs get rocked inside tattoo scene. That's just some of the things that I've seen.
I see the gimmicks, whack lyrics. I see the gimmicks, the whack lyrics.
Hey, ain't you that day reporter looking for the graffiti artist by the Dixies?
Yeah, I'm looking for the graffiti artist. We are all graffiti artists. All right, let's go.
Killing it. This is Louis One Radio.
It's my house, and if you don't like it, you get the fuck out.
Yeah, that was seen by Cuban Pete featuring Cornage Cashman and B Divine. Hey, that was hot, fam.
Yeah, I was up in here. What?
Cool, thanks. I forgot to mention DJ Rex out of Queens. He put together, mixed and mastered the whole project, but he did all the cuts and scratches as well. I was trying to get all the elements in as much as I could. I'm doing a video for Futuro and hopefully with some B-boys in to round it off. But to go with the DJing and the scratching and the knowledge and the everything else being seen.
All right. You need to get you a feature with Marina Phoenix, man. I think she'll sound hot on one of your tracks.
Yeah.
All day. So, all right, we about to go to that SoldierByBlood.com brings you Facebook news.
Oh, yay.
I'm Jeffrey Barbersnapper, and today, in weather, it's slicker than a little ponytail and no edges outside. So be careful. Tyrone said, instead of ass and titties, some of y'all need to get y'all breath done. Dragon breath, huh? Hey, call him daddy. Watch how hype he get. Tell him he about to be a daddy. Watch how serious shit gets. Shit just got serious. Rena Phoenix, what's going on in your world?
Well, over here in my world, let's see here. We got Shelby Jackson said we got to stop questioning why our path is so hard and start understanding that we ain't got no average destiny to fulfill. Things that make you go,
Damn.
Wait a minute, say that again. I need to hear. Hold on.
Things that make you go,
Say that again. I need to hear that again.
Hey, we gotta stop questioning why our path is so hard and start understanding that we ain't got no average destiny to fulfill.
Woo!
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's hard. Because I feel I do got a destiny to fulfill.
I know, right?
Hear me, and it ain't
Shit.
no whack ass destiny.
For sure. So, hey, you want to keep going? If you want some custom shirts, holla at Gentleman's Club, Marvin Terrell on Facebook, The Gentleman's Club on IG, and go to their website, thegentleman'sclub.com. Good dude, good quality fabrics and design, and catch them on MyCityMyMusic.com every Sunday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. You can say that.
All right, and I want y'all to please make sure y'all keep y'all weaves fresh and them tracks in tight. And please keep your baby daddy and baby mama on my DM. And in lighter news, if you're thinking about catering, you should be thinking T's Kitchen, one of the best caterers in the STL area. She has a delicious selection from soul food to vegan dishes. She now has a private diner and a dinner to make your next outing with the family or your date with the king or queen a special moment. T's Kitchen. You can check her out on Facebook at Tanisha Chanel Conrad or text her at 314-546-5488 and tell them Louis Wood Radio sent you.
Okay. That was Facebook News powered by SoldierByBlood.com. Make sure you go to SoldierByBlood.com for your news media and go like it on Facebook. Hit that like. And remember, if it's not on Facebook, it's not news. All right, we about to go to that Me Against You by Tweezy the Don and 5'9" Kane.
Premier.
I don't too much like beef, but my therapist told me, hey, you gotta let that shit out somehow. Shit. I know when we walk out here, we all kings, but just know you got enemies. Holy shit. It's me against them, it's me against you. Your crew and my crew, we ain't playing games, just fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe. It's me against them, it's me against you. Your crew and my crew, we ain't playing games, just fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe. Ho, nigga, fuck boy ass kisser. Worship fake niggas, y'all nothing close to killers. Fucking your own city, but faking like you down. Whole bunch of cronies led by some clowns. Wow, said you had a deal more like got fucked. Brought that bullshit back to the loo, pussy, good luck. I expose weak cats like a Polaroid picture. Selling dreams to the masses, you walk over bitches. Claiming stars stole your style while you raping your team. Your team running schemes, straight lane, skinny jeans. Culture hopping, janky promoter, ticket sales ain't shit. Can't collab with the real, cause you all suck dick. Claim you got the plug, claim you gang like you thug. I'ma snatch the rug, smack your ass like I'm sure. But I ain't claiming blood, I'm a soldier, my G. Keep my name in your mouth, now you gotta see me. Yeah. It's me against them, it's me against you. Your crew and my crew, we ain't playing games, it's fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe. It's me against them, it's me against you. Your crew and my crew, we ain't playing games, it's fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe.
I'm screaming fuck every nigga that ain't in my main circle. Say you won't smoke with the Don, I up that hoppo colors purple. I be sliding through that loop with that ski, cause I'm working, boy, it's me against the world. And I can see Pop vision perfect. Don't say oops, we bless on purpose. My demeanor make them nervous. Hit that gas, it got me swerving. Medevac that nigga urgent. 5'9" Kane, I put that work in. Talking greasy, slide in person. I'm that nigga they call certain. Big blood cane, let's make them earn it. Yeah, 30 shots to hit a nigga house. Let's bring them niggas out. Money bags on niggas' head like wild stallions running out. Cut the check or shut your mouth. Or me and Tweezy gon' run you down. 3 and 4 to the mad town. Finna show these niggas how I get down.
It's me against them. It's me against you. Your crew and my crew. We ain't playing games. It's fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe. Holy shit. It's me against them. It's me against you. Your crew and my crew. We ain't playing games. It's fuck you. You talk a whole lot of shit behind closed doors, but when you see me in person, you act like a hoe. Hoe?
This is Louis One Radio.
It's my house, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Yeah. What's up? And we are back. And that was Me Against You by Tweezy the Don and 5'9" Kane. Coming soon off that Welcome to Louis Wood EP. I want you to be looking out for it. We definitely working over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Cuban Pete and Chuck Pfoutz. And I definitely hope y'all are having fun. Because we surely are.
It's nice to have something different talk show wise. Well, you get all the standard questions, don't you? Like, oh, what's the difference between the UK and the US and all this? And but yeah, it's nice to have something different.
Okay, cool. Good. Well, we definitely got some more questions for you if you up for it.
Yes.
So Cuban P, I want you to give us a rundown of all the things that you have done up until now.
Up to now, well, I mean, I started doing design work, painting on caps, jackets, and sneakers, that sort of thing. And at the same sort of time, I was doing open mics, hip hop events and stuff. So I always had the music thing going. But with the artwork, I was doing it mainly for rappers. So I'd start doing, I'd exchange like some cover art for a verse or something like that, and do posse cuts and stuff. And around 2013, I started doing C75 Live, the mixtapes. Did 3 of those altogether. And I had a couple of tracks on each one as well, just because I love posse cuts and I love doing music. And it wasn't until about that point I started doing music, taking it serious. Yeah, I did a mixtape called Renaissance Man. That came out in 2000, I want to say 18, we'll say that. And then Capital C, Capital P, my short album, that came out Christmas that year. And then last year I had about 5 different albums I wanted to get out, but I kept skipping from one to the next, so none of them got finished. I ended up putting a compilation of feature tracks I'd done. That came out in July on my birthday. I seem to do something every year on my birthday. Yeah, that came out. I got Crumb Snatcher to host it from Gangstar Foundation, because we've been working on design work and stuff. I'm helping him with his new album, and I do design the merchandise for his label Mind Power. So yeah, that was cool. And then, like I say, I mean, I've got my own website, c75live.com, and there's everything on there from music to videos, an artist page of artists that are down with C75 Live. And yeah, I mean, my biggest thing to date has probably been, I would say, the Eric Sermon record that dropped Friday. B Divine's track, he did the beats, he's got the first verse, and then Eric took over. I did the hook. This guy D Rage, who B Divine's mentoring, he did the third verse. And yeah, that's only just got started, really. It's off B Divine's EP that's coming up. So yeah, I mean, go to c75live.com and you'll find everything on there.
All right, that sounds good. And what'd you say your website was called again?
It's c75live.com.
Okay, live.com. All right. And so Chuck, I want you to let us know what all you had going on up until now.
Everything all the way up until now?
Yeah.
Well, I sent you my resume. You got all night?
No, you can give us the short.
I'll give you the short version. I used to. Let's see. Where do I start? What's the best way to start this conversation?
Y'all started as
I used to. I mean, I grew up in St. Charles, and I didn't really. When we were growing up, we didn't get a chance to really get out much. My dad was always gone, and my mom was really kind of overprotective of us. So I didn't get out much. So whenever I got older and started going to school, I started going out more. And whenever I started going out, I found myself into, some of the. I mean, there's really not a lot going on in St. Charles in comparison to what's going on in St. Louis.
Thanks.
And it was always told, and there's like like an old wives' tale in our in St. Charles: don't ever cross the bridge. Well, I had to cross the bridge so I could go to tech school, and that's where I met him right there. And then by going into these clubs, all I saw was people dancing. I mean, And it just inspired me. I mean, I was always, growing up, I was always really shy and self-conscious and just hated what people thought about me if I ever even bothered to even get up on stage and dance. So what did I do? I got up and started dancing. And from like the first time I got up on stage, I met a friend of mine who was a choreographer. He taught me how to dance. And I started dressing up and creating my own costumes, and then going out and dancing in clubs. And I met another friend who he was a promoter, and I was one of those kind of guys who kind of just popped up and kind of brought the people out, kind of like what are those guys called? I'm drunk.
Hype man.
Hype, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for about 2 years, that's what I was, and I was all over the place, as far as like St. Louis and in East St. Louis as well. And so and I did that for about 2 years. We recorded and we photographed, I think, millions of pictures, and probably at a time when selfies and cell phones were not really a fashionable thing. We had a consistent following when it came to our photos and videos, and we got our viewership was really heavy at that time too. And did that for about 2 years, and then I have a daughter, and I was getting ready to graduate school, and I just couldn't go on and continue to keep doing that and kind of shocking the people that I work for and shocking the people all around me like I was doing at that time. You're young and wild, you do things. And then so somebody asked me whenever we were wrapping up our final project, what if there's anything out there you ever wanted to do, what would you like to do? And I was like, I've always wanted to become a photographer. And I was like a professional photographer. I played around with cameras, like point and shoot cameras, but not actually full on photography. And while I was in school studying information technology with you, so I had just gotten inducted into the National Technical Honor Society, and we had to earn so many points to see. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm here with somebody I went to school with, so we could talk about it, and he can confirm everything. We had to earn so many credits in order to get our sash or whatever. So the first event that I volunteered my time at, there was a photographer there. And he needed some help backstage. I was supposed to volunteer my time for whatever, but he needed some help backstage. So I went, and his name was Kyle Cabans. And so I went backstage and helped him photograph, and he liked what I did, and he hired me on the spot. And the first event he booked me for was the St. Louis, the Mid-American Emmys, the Emmys here in the Midwest for all the reporters in the Midwest. That was the first event. And then, of course, I knew some entertainers from my... when I was a hype guy, when I was a kind of a go-go dancer and hype guy, because I was dressed up and danced and all of that. The women loved to dance with me, and I knew all the club owners. So whenever they caught wind that I was a photographer, of course, I started getting booked all over the place. And I've lost count after 300. But I mean, I know I'm in the 400s now, just from so many bookings, and it's definitely like when you're. What is it on Facebook? Were you on Facebook and you read that negative comment on Facebook? Where'd you read that?
Yeah, I did.
I truly disagree with what I mean. You understand why we all disagree with that. There is a path ahead of you. There is a pathway to success. It's not always the path that it's not the path that you may like, but sometimes we have to humble ourselves and go down that road and not be afraid, because that path could lead to the next one and the next one and the next one. And I've sent you my resume. You see, you can establish a connection right there, just like I sent you the videos from my show. You're able to establish a full-on connection that there actually is a path written for you. And you just have to continue to keep following it and keep going. You cannot stop and you cannot give up. You have to keep moving.
That's dope. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So if you could explain your brand or yourself,
sure.
Like, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as cultural empowerment on a universal platform.
Okay, I liked it a lot.
I like that.
Definitely. So, Cuban Pete, I want to ask you that same thing. Like, if you could explain your brand or yourself, how would you describe it?
How do I describe my brand? It's just me, basically. I mean, I've always been part of hip hop and represented the culture, and that's something I try and push with my music. I mean, like I say, I mean, my EP, I've tried to encompass all the elements in there. I try and help local artists. I've got an album coming up, well, that was meant to come out last year, called West Mids to North Beast, because I'm from the West Midlands originally, and obviously living in the North East, I was called it North Beast. And I've got local artists from down there and up where I'm living now. And yeah, just trying to contribute something to hip hop, not just be a taker, a vulture or whatever, but yeah, try and cement my place in the history.
Okay. So why did you choose hip hop?
It chose me, really. I mean, I was into, to be fair, when I was a kid, I was into rock music, soft rock, big hair type shit. Bon Jovi and Kiss. No, not really Kiss. What they called? Motley Crue, people like that. And then I had, I think it was Run DMC, Tougher Than Leather. I used to have that on one side of a D90 cassette, and on the other side was Motley Crue, I think. And we used to drive. It took about half an hour each way to my nan and granddad's each Sunday, and I'd listen to one side of the cassette on the way there and the other side on the way back. It was the lyrics that got me with hip hop. I had a compilation, Hip Hop and Rapping at the House. There was it had stuff like Yaz for the house side, and people like Eric B. and Rakim for the hip hop side, who also had house mixes of their tracks. And that's how I sort of got into it, through the charts, really, I suppose. Then people like NWA and De La Soul came out, Salt and Pepper and Push It, and it was a bit of everything. I've always listened to a bit of everything when it comes to hip hop, whether it's East Coast, West Coast, Dirty South, Australia, England, whatever.
I love hearing it from other countries.
It's always been how people play with the words and stuff like that. Whether it's hip hop or comedy. One of my favourite comedians, Harry Hill, his stand-up, he'd start telling a story, and then he'd veer off into something else, and then he'd come back to what was basically the punchline to the first story. But you've got to be quick to catch on to that sort of thing, and I've always been quick like that to catch up to punchlines and references and things like that, and that's something I try to do with my music, but it's whether the fans like it or not, who knows, but yeah, it's always been the words for me.
Okay. I liked it. That was a great answer.
Well, your voice was made for hip hop, just letting you know.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Cuban Pete? He said, Chuck said your.
What was that?
Your voice was made for hip hop, just letting you know.
Thanks.
No problem.
Okay.
I was meaning to ask I was meaning to ask Chuck, when you were talking before about photography, what would be your top tips for upcoming photographers? Because my stepson's he's at university at the moment doing photography. What should he be looking out for?
Of course, get to know the camera, get to know different lighting conditions, and when you start out, you go to like a garden or something like that and start shooting flowers and plants because they don't talk. And opinions can be very harmful to an artist. Photography is a form of art, and it's definitely a good form to express yourself. Because a picture says 1,000 words. And a lot of times, maybe what you're trying to say could be in that picture. I'm one of those people, I don't like to really say too much on social media because, there's a lot of anger out there, and I don't want to direct that sort of anger at me. So I try to express it through my photography, and kind of like the way I do through my shows and the visuals in my shows and all of that. Let the images talk. Let the images speak for themselves. Not who cares about my opinion? That's the problem with the media these days. Is who cares about what the heck I think?
Yes,
Tell
Skip
the news.
Bayless.
Stick to the facts. Tell the news. Tell me the truth about what is really going on out there in the world today. All I'm hearing is everybody else's opinion. That's your opinion. What is really going on out there? Back then, we used to report the news. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Every reporter's got an opinion.
Yeah.
And I covered one of your shows. It was at what was that? It was by where we go to eat at? No, downtown. Downtown. What's that damn Maurizio's? What's the club?
Hamburger Mary's.
Hamburg? No.
Yeah, it was.
Was that where it was at?
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful show. Wonderful. That was, what I'm saying? I've been to a few model shows where you had a models. Yours was the most best. That was the best show I ever been to. It was wonderful.
It meant the world to me that you came, and it meant the world to me the article that you wrote about me. And the only thing I regret is that I didn't have time to sit down and talk to you more.
Yeah.
Well, now we're doing it now, so. Yeah. And now we can talk about what happened afterwards, because that show was more of like a 15-year anniversary project. After that, we turned it into a series, and then now that the series is going, basically it's the story of my photography career. So we go through and we pick out all of the events that I've covered that pertain to that genre, and then we add to that. We actually use that as an excuse to add to it as well. So that way the photography career continues, but in these specific areas instead of actually everything, because we were doing everything before, and it was just so overwhelming. For 5 years straight, I did everything, and now I'm like, gosh, I'm doing so much. I could have 30 years ahead of me as far as my career. Let's slow down and let's focus on real vital issues that are really going on in the world today. I'm talking the world, not just in our country, the world. And like this next subject that we're talking about is the trans and non-binary community. Mm-hmm. And the violence in the community and the fact that nobody's talking about it. And this is kind of like, I got the Human Rights Campaign involved in the show. It's going to be on 314 in 2020 Vision, and it's going to shed a light on the subject, and it's definitely going to have a lot of different themes that pertain to the trans and non-binary community, as far as like Stonewall and the trans community actually taking the steps to create Stonewall and all returning it to the community, referencing it respectfully, because I don't know if you heard about what was going on in St. Louis during Pride this year. It was completely crazy and insane and completely ruined the spirit of this occasion that was supposed to heal divisions and show respect. Instead, it was completely ruined by just a bunch of crap that people just need to keep their mouths shut and really actually come together as a community, as one, and really be united. Right. It's almost like we keep avoiding the issue.
Right.
Right. We can't have peace if we can't work together.
Right. And with that being said, because I wrote a question down. You said you have a daughter, am I?
Yes.
So talk to us about that, because you have 2 children. Explain to us how that happened.
How I have children?
Yeah. Well, we know how you had it, but I don't know how you, because I know you are.
I had a girlfriend, and she.
We broke. Actually, first of all, if you feel comfortable saying that,
sure,
that's my
no
bad.
problem. I had a girlfriend. We had I had a girlfriend. We were together for a while. Actually, we tried for a little while to have a kid, and then we broke up, and then we got back together for a night. It was a long time ago, and she's almost almost 8 years old now, and so we had a little slip, and that's how she came along. Seriously, and that's how she came along. And then my son, my best friend, was having some complications, some female complications, and she wanted to have a kid, and it was at a point now she can't have children now, but it was at a point where it was like almost time, getting to that point where it was almost time for her. She was having problems.
Is this the second one?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
my son. And so luckily, we were able to have a son out of all of it. And now, thank goodness, at least we both have our child. Because it was at a time in my life, I was a little bit older, and I really wanted to have another one. And, you get that point where that clock is ticking, and you're yearning for that, because, I'm getting older, and how much time do I got left? And then by the time this kid graduates high school, I'll be 45 years old. I get to go on with my life and live more of an independent life. I'm sure you think about these things when it comes to having children.
Yeah, we got 15 between both of us.
Yeah, I remember you telling me how many children you had when I was in school.
But how do that feel to have kids, man? Because you gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had children unconventional to if you was a gay couple. You probably would have had to. I don't know.
I try to think of it as there's no wrong way to build a family.
And you are correct about that. You are correct.
So
about
when
that.
I hear all these labels and all of that, I was like, no, we were two adults who just decided to have a kid. That's all. Can we just look at it from that point without the labels? We were two adults who just decided to have a kid together.
Sometimes curiosity.
I know, it really does throw, I keep them guessing.
Somebody to ask the questions to find out the real answers.
Yeah, because I'm friends with I'm friends with a few gay individuals, males and females.
Right.
I think males are different when it comes to having children than females, because a female can get artificially inseminated.
Yeah.
Normally when it's a male, they have to adopt.
Or pay somebody to have their kid.
Yeah. Or exactly. So I just wanted to know how.
What a surrogate, the whole
yeah.
surrogate movement, all of that.
So is that normal as far as like with the males?
I can't speak for I'm speaking for myself, but yeah, it's normal for either to adopt or to have somebody carry your kid. Okay. I've seen plenty of mothers actually feel comfortable actually signing over the rights to their kids to this gay couple or whatever. It's something that's not in everybody's face yet, so we're not familiar with it, but I think it's normal. I think everybody deserves to have children no matter what. I'm single, so I'm raising my kids with their mothers. So their lives are normal. They know what I do. Everything's up in the air, so there's no problems,
Right. Cool.
It's not like we're keeping secrets from your family. That's the worst thing you can do is just keep a secret.
Yeah.
I don't know what normal is anymore, to be fair.
When was anything ever really normal? It's just this ideal way of life, this politically correct life that we were all programmed to believe that this is the way that we're supposed to be. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be, and anything outside of that is considered weird. Why do we have that? Let's remove that, and everybody is who they are, and everything is, as it should be.
Exactly.
All day.
Exactly. My wife I'm with now, she's got 3 children when we got together, so obviously they're my stepkids now. We're married, and I live them like they're my own. That's not a conventional family. It's almost like I've adopted them, so it's not really any different, but we're still a family.
All day.
There you go. That's all what it is. So everybody knows love is what makes you family.
All day.
Okay. So what advice would you give to Chuck? What advice would you give to somebody who wants to pursue photography, actually filmmaking?
Or what you doing?
like I said, the flowers, photograph flowers, and because they don't have opinions, and then show those pictures to, if you feel comfortable, show those pictures to people or professional photographers to give you maybe some tips. But make sure it's somebody who's not mean, because the person who trained me was really, really, really mean, and I mean, it tore me up. But I mean, I got the point. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be tough, though. I mean. But as far as it's just the way that, start off kind of volunteering your time, getting involved in things, getting involved in events and all of that. And just and don't be afraid to dedicate some time to these specific events, and then you maintain some sort of like a following and a standard. And like the way I am with, especially the models in St. Louis, is I kind of use the fashion photography as more as advertising for me. And so I just give the pictures away to them, and then they advertise my brand, and I get more bookings out of that. I do. I get a lot. This is probably my most 2019 was my most successful year, and I wasn't even out there in the public life that much like I was in previous years. So because I've been so busy, I wasn't able to go out there in public life and photograph public events, because I've maintained so many private bookings and highly paid bookings. The most amount of money I made off a photography event was $5,500.
Wow.
So, by people say, "Oh, I don't see you out there as much. Are you still working or anything? Are you still a photographer?" Yeah, I am, just not in the public eye. Mm-hmm. So, but that's the idea, is to stop volunteering your time, and to stop being out there so publicly. And when you get to that point where you're making profitability, you want to go into those areas where you're making profitability. And but that's always the goal. Was always to get your name out there. After that, that's when you capitalize, and that's when you make your money. At some point, when do you draw the line as to when do you want to start? Like when I reached New York Fashion Week, that's when I started charging for my time. That's when I started really kind of doing. I really became more of a business and less of a person who was just generating publicity or trying to supply people with photography or things like that. And then with the money that I created that I would generate from the success of those events, I would use that and invest that into my show. Mm-hmm. And that's how, especially New York Fashion Week, I made probably $6,000 or $7,000 off of that. I was able to put that show together, and I had been working on that, taking my work and turning it into film for years. I have visual albums that describe each era of what I was trying to create, and then we take that and then we go through and we just basically, however the path is, we go into that path, and then I go into my photography career and I pull all of that footage and photography that I've gathered, and then take all of that and turn it into a really nice visual presentation for the show. So all along, while I was photographing, I was building what I was destined to create, which is this show. And I really do feel like it was truly what I was born to do. And I had to sit there and have conversations I had private conversations, but now everybody knows it. So it's I was like, can I make a confession? This is what I've been wanting to do. This is what I want to spend all my time doing. This is what I truly love to do, just because I'm surrounded by so many different types of people, and I'm able to maintain a consistent education when it comes to what is going on out there in the world, the different cultures, what's going on currently, what are vital issues that need to be addressed, all of that. And this is my way of addressing those issues, and not necessarily with a political agenda or anything like that. That's why I say a picture says 1,000 words. Let the images work on their own. That's what makes good movies. Right. And you're using using film and images to create a platform to inspire change.
Yes.
Yeah, and you do the same thing, like with your music, with all the music. You have all different types of artists on your platform, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just the military in you, though. Of course, you're probably born that way as well. But yeah. I always wanted to be in the military. That's why I always I talk about it a lot. I actually tried to be in the Navy, and I have really bad anxiety, so they wouldn't let me be in it. So I went and volunteered my time in the LGBT community for 4 years. Right. As a way, like everybody does 4 years in the military in the beginning, and then they decide after that. Is it 3 years or 4 years now? I think it's changed.
It's 3.
3?
Yeah.
It's 3 now? Wow, my dad.
It's 3 to 4. It all depends, but for me, it's been 6.
Yeah.
I do 6. I did 6.
Yeah. So that's kind of my way of being in the military, except I was volunteering my time. But during that whole time period, we had the overturn on same-sex marriage. Pride St. Charles I was on the board for Pride St. Charles, created Pride St. Charles. Pulse happened. We were in LA when Pulse happened. We flew right to Pulse the next week nobody could get a flight out because the press was all over it. But we so happened to have a layover that was scheduled. This is when I talk about destiny. Scheduled months in advance, we were able to get a flight to Orlando. And we were able to get down there and cover it. And, nobody from St. Louis was covering it at that time. And then Stonewall, nobody was at Stonewall. Nobody from St. Louis. And that was a big issue with me, too. That was a big issue with me, too, was how we were capitalizing off of it here in St. Louis. And nobody from St. Louis was representing Stonewall. This is where the uprising happened. This is where everything happened. That kind of stuff, that's disrespectful to me. That's just my personal opinion. How can we sit there and capitalize off of something when we're not even involved in it?
Right.
So that's my as far as my military story, and that's definitely a lot of the DNA behind my show. And so my next show is on 314 St. Louis, and then we're doing another show in September called The Roaring 20s, September 12th.
All right.
Oh, I know. We already fully staffed almost.
Oh, man, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cuban Pete, I want to ask you the same thing. What advice would you give to somebody that's pursuing music?
Definitely promotion is key. If you want to have any sort of success, obviously people need to know that where your music is and where to listen to it. That's why I'm doing all these interviews to promote this album, because to be fair, my first mixtape did really well by itself, but the next one, the album, capital C, capital P, I dropped that something like the 22nd of December or something stupid, because it got delayed slightly. So everybody was busy with Christmas and the holidays and stuff and family, and nobody was really paying attention to me. And I didn't have any, because it was Christmas, I didn't have any spare money for promotion and stuff, so it sort of slipped under the radar a bit. Which that's something I learned from. This year I'm a lot more focused. So yeah, I'm being more selective with things I collaborate with, as far as feature verses or whatever, and just basically my time in general. You've got to put your money and your time in the right place. Otherwise, it just works against you and you don't get anything done. Like I said about last year when I had about 5 albums I was trying to drop, if I'd have done them, they'd have been great. But, I skipped from one to the next and wrote a verse here, a verse there, and then ended up with about 5 half albums, which benefited nobody because I didn't do anything with it. So, hopefully they're going to drop this year, but I'm not going to promise anything because I've got new projects starting. So some of those tracks will probably move around, who knows. But I'm keeping all the business side to myself and trying not to promise anything on social media anymore, because I've got a bunch of album covers and stuff floating around for things that may or may not happen. So I'd say maintain focus and put your money and your time in the right place for people coming up.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, I like that. So what do you live for, Cuban Pete?
Oh, good questions.
What do I live for?
Oh my.
Before you do that, hold on, Cuban Pete. Before you do that,
sorry, I made my wife.
Are you on YouTube?
Yes. If you search C75 Live on YouTube, my official channel comes up. I've not got many videos on there yet, but all my distributed music comes up on there as well. And I'm going to be doing a video for Futura. Hopefully I'll be working on that soon. That'll be the next single. So, there should be more stuff coming up on that.
Okay. All right.
Do you have an iPhone charger?
Yeah. All right, my bag with that. Go ahead with what you live for.
Thank you, sorry.
What do you live for, Cuban Pete? That's why.
Well, my first answer would be my wife, but she's gone to bed now, so music. But I'm music and art in general, just art in general, I suppose. It all comes under the same banner. But yeah, no, that's what I do. I'm a creative person, so whatever I can do. My design work, you know, I was saying, I painted on jackets and caps and stuff like that. That started because I was doing a day job, just sat in a quiet office, and in between calls, I started drawing on my trainers with pen, a Sharpie. And it was great and everything, but it ran in the rain and stuff, so I researched how to do it properly, you know, I got leather paints and all the rest of it, and that's how C75 Designs took off. And then, yeah, it just, you know, it's like anything creative. I've always been the doodler in class, you know, so, yeah, that sort of side of me is what wins.
Okay, so, that's good, though. I like that. So, Chuck, what do you live for?
Oh, God. First, my kids. Second, my artistry. It's definitely definitely that. And then I'd say third is IT. Of course, my kids and my family are number one, though, always.
Right.
They're what keeps me going.
That's good.
And my friends, you know.
Family life, I like that.
Yeah, well, when you mention family, sometimes that includes your friends, too. You know, sometimes where we strike out with our family, we make up for with our friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You were correct about that.
Yeah. So what's your vision for the future?
What's my vision for the future? Oh, gosh. Hopefully I'll have another kid. I want that. Okay. And then, man.
Which one, boy or girl?
It doesn't matter at this point. I mean, you can't. I mean, after once you have one and the other, I mean, after that, it's just a blessing. Yeah. It's just like I'm at that point in my career too. Everything is just a blessing at this point. I feel like all the things that I really wanted to do, I've gotten to do already. So it's like now I got to invent new things to do, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I just want to continue to keep doing what I'm doing. And like I really do like diving into what I do and really kind of saturating myself in what I do, because it's like sometimes when you pretend something, you know, like how actors go through what their whole preparation of becoming the character that they become. When you familiarize yourself with something for so long, sometimes it can become you. And you know, and that's how you create this sort of interpretation or your version of what you think this is supposed to be, or something like that. And a lot of times, the way we do things, because of the really wonderful team. I mean, these are St. Louis people that we work with too. I was able to find all the people that are in our team are St. Louis people, and I found some very really wonderful creative people who are just the type of people who will do that extensive research into something, and then we just show up there and we turn up. As far as you know, creating what we do, we don't even think about it. We don't even get nervous about it. We do what we have been studying all along. And like I said, we let the story be the star.
I like that. All right, so Cuban P, what is your vision for the future?
What is what, sorry?
Your vision for the future, what is it?
A country called Cuban Pete. No, I'm joking.
Hey, don't you?
No, I want to.
What was the answer?
I just want to make. I mean, at the moment, C75 Live is a music imprint. It's not a label proper. What I'd like to do is make it a proper label, get artists signed, get them money, get them working, and especially people who've been going since day one. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff over the years for free, basically, as favours for friends. And this year, well, last year and this year, a lot of that good karma's been coming back to me. People like B Divine and One Mike and G Money and people like that, they've got me features on tracks and on projects and stuff like that. There's an upcoming TV series I might have a track on. Thanks to One Mike. So, you know, a lot of the good stuff is coming back to me this year. So hopefully I'm all about cross-promotion and moving things on with what I'm, you know, using the tools I'm given. So when people do things like that, or when I do things myself, I try and build on that constantly and just drive things forward. So hopefully for the future, C75 Live will be a proper label, and we'll be working and eating basically, and signing new people, getting new people to get their music out there and benefit them.
All right. So, with that being said, what's your most memorable moment in doing what you do?
I did a track with Black Poet from Screwball. Rest in peace to Hostile from Screwball, who died recently. I got Black Poet on a track, and he was somebody. He used to be in a group called PhD back in the day, and I had it on cassette on one side of a D90 or whatever. It was one of my favourite albums at the time. So yeah, when I had him on a track saying like Cuban Pete and on the intro and stuff, and doing a verse, that was the fan side of me took over for that, to be honest. It was just great. I mean, the whole social media thing and putting you in touch with your heroes. I mean, Crumb Snatcher, for God's sake, I grew up with him doing his Gangstar stuff and the Training Day soundtrack and being nominated for awards for that. It's an honour to work with people that you've looked up to growing up. I mean, somebody today said we were arguing about Eminem, as everybody else been doing recently, and I promised I wouldn't, but I got sucked into a conversation. But he said, he kept saying throughout, I don't listen to Eminem, I don't listen to him. And then at the end he said, we were getting a bit hostile, but he said, I do stream your music, and I'd put you above him. And I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? I was going to make a status on Facebook, and then I thought, no, I'll just leave that. That's a high honour to me. I don't consider him my goat. I'm not that sort of white guy, but he's definitely up there. And for somebody to put me anywhere, in my opinion, up there is crazy. So yeah, things like that. Fan feedback is amazing every time.
All right, Chuck, what's your most memorable moment?
When I created my show, when I created it and debuted it, and everybody loved it, and the best feedback that I got off of it was when I saw your show, it changed my life. Because it meant that it was possible that somebody out there could do what they've always to create the can you just imagine in your head 15 years trying to create the ultimate dream and then actually putting it out there to where the entire world can see it. And I remember that first show, and I remember the pictures that Sean took of my show and the articles that you guys wrote about me, and then we put it out there, and it was explosive. And people, another review was, it was like taking a splatter of paint and throwing it all over St. Louis. Because something like this had, I mean, this was a collection of different ideas that I had been putting together. 15 years of definitely a description of a timeline, an established timeline from 1975 all the way up until modern times. And and then we use that kind of as like a kind of like a hot, what is it, a hot opening? What do they call that? A hot opening? What is it, like a hot preview or something like that? And then when we actually decided, because it was called the Maximum Exposure Fashion Show, and then when we after that show was finished and the explosive response that we had from it, we took it and then we turned it into a series. And so by taking that show and breaking that down from 1975 all the way up until modern times. We go now that it's a series, we go deeper into the stories surrounding my photography career. So of course the first story was about a situation that had happened between me and an entertainer. Somebody had posted a picture. This entertainer was out smoking a cigarette, and somebody had posted a picture of this entertainer out smoking a cigarette, and he was in very bad form, dressed inappropriate, and posted it on the internet, and then it went viral like crazy, and then everybody tried to say that I was the one who did it because I'm a photographer. I wasn't even there. I wasn't even the one who took the picture, and then this individual got so upset, and because I refused to talk to the...
How did it get tagged to your show?
How did it get tagged to me? Believe me, it didn't get tagged to me. It got... this individual had it out for me for a while. I refused to. I was actually in the process of collaborating with this individual, and then without even talking to me about it, he decided to cut my idea completely. So whenever he cut the idea without communicating with me, and I thought it was kind of ignorant, he refused to have a conversation with me for weeks. I just completely cut myself off from that situation in general. He couldn't take that. So whenever I think he had been trying to get me to talk to him forever, and I just refused to talk to him. And I guess, whenever people get angry and they let that anger build up, at some point the pimple pops. And whenever that picture was posted, I'm guessing he had some sort of a feeling that I was behind it or whatever. Had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It wasn't even near it or whatever. This individual tried to create a petition to have me banned from photographing in St. Louis. Wow. And I never said a word about it. I mean, I posted online saying, "Hey, this individual has it out for me. There's a root cause to the situation. Hey, this is the." I mean, I didn't go into the story because I didn't want to risk lawsuit or slander or anything like that. I was like, "But please do not sign this." People actually signed it. And that list of people just so happened to be a specific number of people that I was loyal to. And I just completely changed industries altogether and went into the fashion world. Just because, if my name is, I thought my name was, I do good things, and I gave away so much of my work, hours and hours. People don't realize what happens when you take photographs. There's hours and hours of editing that happens afterwards. It's not instant. It's just, it's something, editing and film and all of that, it's time. Okay, and you give so much of your time away, and it really taught me, if these individuals, I'm sitting here volunteering my time, and these individuals are going to taint my name, why am I devoting my time to these people? And then they have the audacity to sit there and sign their name on a petition to have me banned from photographing in St. Louis. Why am I working for you guys? Yeah. So that it's just and like he was talking about time. We're about dedicating his time into areas where it needs to be. Like, he has albums that need to go out there. He needs to promote them. He needs time to promote those albums, just like I need time to promote my shows. I cannot be out there doing everything anymore. And it was just a reality check that maybe I need to do what's best for me at this point and what's best for my time. I can't help everybody anymore. Because I tried to work with this individual. He didn't want to work with me. And if you don't want to work with me, I'm only going to ask you once. After that, don't talk to me 2 years down the line saying, I'd like to work with you, this and that. I was like, no, you've already tainted my name. Right. Yeah. Once you go online, I really don't put up with that at all. We sit down, have a civil conversation, be professional, and let's get past it. Once you take it to the internet, I can't protect you, and I can't protect myself anymore. Yeah. And that, to me, is like the desolation of any type of business deal. As far as, and I think other people should respond to that. We really do need to keep a lid on what we say on social media, because we are so narcissistic and so want to put it all out there and want everybody to know about it. Not everybody needs to know about it. Yes. There's certain things that people don't need to know about. And like we're all, because of social media, we all feel like we're entitled to our opinions. A lot of times, sometimes it's not the most educated opinion. Yeah. You got to really, really do, whenever you post something, make sure it's factual. Right. There's always a root cause. Yeah. And the good thing about these type of situations, there's always an ending. Well, in my situation, I never spoke about it, so everybody wanted to know why. And it just, that buildup of it, well, whenever I created the show, and it was the most successful show, by the way, was the show after that. The one I made the most amount of money, the one that got me all the awards, was I actually took that story and turned it into a show. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we continued to keep doing that, and it just goes from there. Each show tells a story. Like the burlesque show told the story of my go-go dancing days and me working in those clubs and me getting to know all of the people who own all the venue owners and all of that, and how I was able to just pick up that camera and instantly make a smooth transition from one industry into another without, I swear, I think it was within a week of me doing my last dance project, and then becoming a photographer. Okay, and that's how powerful destiny is, and that's how powerful. And I wanted to talk about that. And you just never know where your next transition is, and that's what that show was about. And then the Chicago show was just, oh my gosh, so many different going into. I mean, we call it Madhouse because just getting that show to Chicago was just a madhouse in general. So I mean, whenever you look at it, it just looks insane. I mean, all different voodoo, witchcraft. Oh gosh, I mean, it's really crazy. And then we did the Fright Night Vampires, and then so the platform that we did the Fright Night thing on, they want us back to do another installment in February, and then do another one in on Halloween as well. So the Chicago show, and that's the reason why we called it Maximum Exposure Fashion Series Chicago, is because we were starting another series in Chicago. So they got it's a spinoff. They got their own series, and they want more. And isn't that great to actually, you grow up in a town and then you go to another city and they love you. And the same way with our Kansas City project, we put a post out. I put a post on my Maximum Exposure page saying, "Hey, we're doing a Roaring 20," because everybody's going to claim it. We're in 2020. Everybody's going to claim it, so I need to get mine out there first and let everybody know, "Hey, I'm doing this." Because everything we do is groundbreaking. That's what makes the show interesting. Is we have a different theme every single time. So I put it out there, and I swear within 24 to 48 hours, we had a full entire team signed up. Models, everything, designers, everything.
I bet you did.
Yeah, just like when we created the first show. The moment I put out there, if I created a fashion show, it was like on my 15-year anniversary, if I created a fashion show, would you be in it? And I swear it went around.
That post.
You remember that post? It went around the world. I mean, in the same way with New York Fashion Week, when I said I wanted to do New York Fashion Week, I swear within 24 hours, I had a booking, I had a plane ticket, I had everything.
Yeah.
So, and it was just don't be afraid to go into different cities and showcase your stuff, because every time I ever went into another city, I became successful. Whenever I went on the road in 2015 to 2017, I got published in 2 different magazines. I got published in a magazine down in New Orleans, and I got published in an international magazine down in Miami. So, I mean, a lot of times, artists are not truly appreciated in their hometown, but I mean,
that's real.
St. Louis has given me, I really don't like people talking bad about St. Louis, because St. Louis has given me a home and a name and a career. So, I mean, when people say bad things about St. Louis, I'm like, you just didn't take the path. You don't have the path that I have.
In the same place as I was.
Yeah.
All day. So, Cuban Pete, any shout-outs?
Yes, definitely a shout out to Soraya Hafiz, my manager, Crumb Snatcher, just as hype, almost C75 live fan, too many to list, but One Mike, Graveyard Shifter, Six Throw, and everybody else on the label. Also my GGO, Ghetto Government Officials, Hellraiser / Heaven Raiser, and everybody on there. Who else? The original Mr. Blue, Official Guerrilla Army. I think that's about it, but I'm sure I always forget people. What can I say?
Don't forget them. Chuck, any shout outs?
As far as my events or people,
period.
Okay. Well, I'm taking a break in 2021 for a little bit. Hopefully to have another family, have another kid. That's what I really want to work on. So Danielle Washington is going to be running my show for me while I focus on my family for a little while. And so give a shout out to Danielle Washington Patterson for taking on all that responsibility. She's been working with me since day one. She's 100% knows how to do things. She's a professional model in St. Louis. She introduced me to the St. Louis fashion industry. So this is kind of like my reward to her, is letting her take over everything while I go off and focus on a lot of important things that I've been wanting to do. I feel like that time, the clock is ticking, and I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 soon, and it's like how much longer. How everybody goes through that. It's just time. How much time do you have to create a family? We're only given so much time. And so, give a shout out to her, and she's my hair and makeup artist. She's also the highest paid member of my team, by the way. I can't find an artist out there or an actor or a model who disagrees with the fact that the hair and makeup team deserves to be the highest paid. And they are in our team. And they fight for those spots. They die for those spots. I mean, 250. I mean, you know, I don't mind throwing the cash down on something that is really important. And we really do believe in paying our people and taking good care of our team, and, you know, offering some sort of fair compensation in some form, because I feel like everybody's time is valuable.
Yes.
So, I mean, give a shout out to everybody who works for me, because God, they have one hell of a job. It takes a lot of work. It takes almost 100 people to create that show. So that's why it does. Yeah. And it all started, I had a Tuesday show. It was a talent show at the Gray Fox. And it all kind of started from there. And what we did was we took that and we expanded it. You know, all the problems that were in that show, lack of costumes, lack of makeup, lack of visuals, lack of variety, all of those things. We took that and we solved all of those problems. And then we turned it into a universal platform. And it took time. You know, we started in 2016 and built up from here. And then in 2018 we created Maximum Exposure. But definitely just give a shout out to my team and everybody who believes in us, because, you know, we're really on a good path, and I do feel blessed. Like he said, all the good things that we've dedicated and donated and whatever struggles we went through trying to maintain our success, it's coming back to us now.
Yeah. Cool. So what's next?
The show on 314 and 2020 Vision, and then we have the Roaring 20s fashion show September 12th at the Adams Mark Hotel, and the Beyond the Binary fashion show is at the Mad Art Gallery here in Soulard. Near Soulard. We're on Broadway now.
Okay.
But the other one is at the Adams Mark Hotel in Kansas City. And the reason why we chose Kansas City, we were going to have it in Atlanta, but I felt like, I don't know, that type of theme deserved to be more in either the Midwest or the North. And I mean, right now everybody's having their show in New York, so I really didn't want to take it to New York.
Okay.
You will though.
Yeah, I will. And that's at the end of that path. I mean, we have right now we plan on writing 10 shows and then maybe creating another series or something like that. But right now we're going on. This is basically this show that we're creating, and the Beyond the Binary show is to predate any of the other shows. So it's the first season. So we have season 2, season 3, and season 4 already out and already finished. This is actually the first season. This is actually what delivered all of that. So I'm a firm believer in prequels. We shot our trilogy already. Now we're going back to the beginning where it all began and establishing all of those roots. And a lot of the original team that we brought in from the 2018 show is involved in that show, because we wanted to establish the actual real connection of what really happened, not this story, not this 1975 to 2000 to modern times story. We wanted it more to be about the photography career and how, and let the story be the star. The subject is the star, and that's and we're dedicating it to the trans and non-binary community, because that's kind of where I got my start, is in the LGBT community. So I wanted to have a project dedicated to that specific genre of, and definitely that specific time where I worked there, because I definitely got a lot of really wonderful opportunities. A lot of celebrities came to town that I got to work with. Remember Love and Hip Hop, the Love and Hip Hop cast, all of those events, Big Freedom, all of that leading up to kind of us going into the fashion world. And I've always tried to tell people, hey, Destiny has a really funny thing. You just never know where your next turning point is. And had I said no, and had I said, because they didn't have the budget, for photographers. Sometimes photography can be very expensive. Thank goodness I saw it as a golden opportunity, a groundbreaking opportunity, something that could, change my entire world. Because these days anything's possible with social media and Instagram and all of these different ways of connecting. I'm glad that I was smart and I thought about that and didn't say no.
Right.
And that's what I once said on my tombstone. Thank goodness I didn't say no.
You so right. Cuban Pete, what's next, man?
Well, I forgot to give a shout out to Test Squad. One Mike and me, we're part of each other's squads. I forgot to say that. But next up, I've got a project with Neri, the producer, called Rocket Science. And that's coming up. I've got one with DJ Hellraiser from the UK, We're doing a project together. I've got a project with B Divine, who's down with C75 Live. Check out bdivinemusic.com for his music on there. Lots of luck coming up. Various other things we've got planned, but who knows? We'll wait and see on those. Chuck, I'd say look me up on Facebook and stuff. Be interested to see more of your work, your design work and photography and things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's all. No, like
I really do like
there's
your
another
music.
half of the year. That's just the first half. So yeah, there's plenty more stuff coming up second half.
All right. So you just told us where we can find you, because that was my next question for you. Chuck, where they can find you?
Oh gosh, they can find me anywhere.
Yeah,
No, I'm
C75live.com. That's the main website. There's links on to there. Links on there to everything. Facebook, Instagram. There's a lot of my social media is still C75 Designs, but I've mixed the two, so it's all C75 Live now. I'm still swapping my social media over slowly. After this media run is done, I'm going to be doing that properly. But yeah, C75live.com is the main place to go.
All right, Chuck.
Oh, you can find me at the Maximum Exposure Fashion Series. You can find me at Chuck Pfoutz on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, House of Chuck Magazine, or you can find me at Chuck Pfoutz Presents, or you can find it the same way on Facebook too. And you can also find me on the Maximum Exposure. The Maximum Exposure -FS on Instagram. So I have 3 different Instagram pages, 3 different Facebook pages. Definitely Chuck Pfoutz Presents is the actual the umbrella corporation. House of Chuck Magazine is the fashion photography and the fashion, everything that in relation to fashion photography and fashion media. And then Maximum Exposure, of course, is the fashion show in itself. So
okay.
Each of them, but you can find me on each of them, but they all serve a purpose.
Oh, dang. All right, so thank you guys for coming to Louis Wood Radio. We appreciate you. Man, we talked about a lot of, we talked about some good stuff, man, and I'm gonna be honest with you, listening to both of you guys, it's just like when I joined the military. I joined and they pretty much told me what I already knew. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a validation. And listening to you guys today, it actually validates what I already been thinking. And I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. You couldn't have picked 2 better guests.
Thanks for having us on. It's been a great show.
3 different views. It's really good to have that.
Yeah, it is. And that's what Louis Wood Radio is about. That's what MyCityMyMusic.com is about. Cuban Pete, stay on the phone because I want to talk to you. And Chuck, we're going to take some pictures before you leave.
Okay.
And before we get up out of here, we got one more song by Cuban Pete. If I pronounce this right, Dondi?
Yeah, after Dondi, aka Style Master General, which was his nickname as such. But yeah, he was all about the style. I've sort of based the song about style over substance and that sort of thing. I've run the style theme.
All right, so we gonna stay on the line, but we about to end after this wonderful song. I'm Tweezy the Don.
It is Rena Phoenix.
And we are on Louis Wood Radio at MyCityMyMusic.com. We about to end with that Dondi by Cuban Pete. We appreciate the beautiful guests today, Cuban Pete and Chuck Pfoutz. Make sure y'all check them out on Facebook. And we are out of here, man.
Yeah.
Peace out. We'll see you next Saturday.
Be true.
Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Pals, go on, what? Grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. Too worried about their likes and their cash flow. Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Pals, go on, what? Grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. to worry about their likes and their cash flow. Some prefer style, some prefer substance. They sniff it up their nostrils in abundance. Been around but stay on the circumference. Big top full of clowns, the shoe fits you don't fuss. Got style like Slick Rick, gold dripping, dropping crumbs like a biscuit, no dipping. Or Duncan, show me something that I've never seen, or with a new twist, that old shit I've done clean. Shit, no drips unless intentional. Bitch, I know chicks that do shit you never will. Nice guys finish last, ladies come first. At least in my house I'm knowing how the world works. Babies growing older, colder as the world turns. Off their rocker, getting hotter as the world burns. Yo, I do it proper, have done since the baby years. This is not an opera, won't hear no fat ladies here. Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Piles of dough or money, grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. To worry about their likes and their cash flow. Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Piles of dough or money, grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. To worry about their likes and their cash flow. Snakes and fake frenzies like marks on my lenses. Stop me seeing Benzes and all that shit. No ice, no fur, that shit's just a blur. Whole vision fucked, I need to clean up quick. Fuck to live, I'm breaking Twitter fingers with my hammer. Can't touch this, knock the fist off social actors. I see fakes on the net, get fake respect. Fans a little fickle, quick to put them in check. I see cats come and go like a flap. I talk slick like oil till Yanks wanna invade me like Iraq. I see rappers playing favourites, won't stop till my name in the papers. Full middle name dangerous, pop is plain to see. Not where I aim to be. Got what God gave to me, but don't believe in him, cause the world's fucked. Too many sucker ducks. We used to play it tough, now they wanna play the victim. Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Piles of dough or money, grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. To worry about their likes and their cash flow. Style, they want it, got it. Smile, you got it, flaunt it. Piles of dough or money, grab the bag and run it. Most lack the substance to match them. To worry about their likes and their cash flow.